Good morning, everyone. I don't know if I can get a confirmation that you can hear me. You can leave a message for me in the chat room. Let me know to be sure that you can hear me and you can also see me. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. I can see the messages. Thank you very much. Good morning once again, everyone. My name is Adirunke Shaw, and I work with Utica Capital as portfolio manager. I'd like to welcome everyone once again to another edition of the Utica Discourse. This webinar series is one that we undertake here at Utica, and that's because we are a learning organization. I mean, one of our core values, the first of our core values actually states knowledge. And so because we're a knowledge-driven firm, we do this series from time to time to share our knowledge with the public and of course get your feedback. I mean, there is room for you to learn and for us, as a firm to also learn. Now, today's topic is on product design, and it's targeted at majorly helping people to first understand what product design is, and then of course we will take it up from there. And basically, when I say young people, we're looking at particularly the Gen Zs, and that's why the Gen Zs of Utica are the ones who would anchor this particular webinar series. I'll hand you over shortly to the moderator, Rosemary Anuforo, as she would introduce us more to the topic, and of course, before Miriam Alakoso, who would then do justice to the topic, would continue. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Adirunke, for this warm welcome. And thank you to everyone that has created time of their busy schedules to be here today. Like I was introduced, my name is Rosemary Anuforo, and I will be your moderator for today. I work with Utica Capital Limited, a place where Gen Zs are accepted and we are noticed. Just in case this is your first time of hearing about Utica Capital Limited, Utica Capital Limited is an asset management company that is licensed by the Securities and Exchange Commission. We're in the business of offering portfolio management services to high net worth individuals. Today, we won't be talking about investments like normal. We will be moving to something else that is like breaking out from the norm. We'll be talking about product design. So, like, have you ever wondered what came into the mind of the person that created a rechargeable fan? The person must have gone through a lot, maybe going around during the heat surge and felt like it would have been nice for something portable and compact for them to be able to feel cool while they are in a very hot environment. So product design is basically creating things and empathizing with people, seeing the needs of people so that you can be able to do something that is very wonderful and people will be able to enjoy. So I'll be passing the microphone now to Miriam Malakoso so that she will do justice to this topic. Miriam, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Rosemary. Thank you very much, Rosemary. Good morning, everyone. And we are going to be talking about product design, like she has said. But first, I have to share my screen. And let me just do that. So please, when I'm done sharing my screen, please, you can confirm in the chat room that you can see my screen so that we can move on. Okay, so like Rosemary has said, it is a very, product design is a very, innovative field. A lot of work goes into the thought process and the creation of products. And if you look at a compact or a rechargeable small fan, you start to think that, okay, what did these people actually think about? Like, what went into the thought process for them to be able to give you this kind of innovative product that is movable and you can carry around when there is heat surge, like she has said. And today's topic, the design thinking process, is going to give you like a little information on what product designers think about, go through to be able to give you a product that would not only solve your problem but also be useful and usable for you. So this is a brief overview of what we are going to be talking about today. We'll be talking about what a product is, what product design is, product design and UI UX design, the differences and the similarities, the difference between UI and UX, good and bad UX design. Then I'll be introducing you to some of the UX careers that you can explore if you want to come into the product design field. Then we'll dive into the topic of the day, design thinking process. I would also talk about the key takeaways, and then we'll conclude the presentation. Now, what is a product? A product is a good, service, or feature that was created to serve a customer's needs and wants. And I know that we are all using one product or the other currently for this presentation, or we all use one or two products to transport ourselves from our house to the office or wherever you are currently. You're also using different products in the house. And the key thing here is that you need this product or you want this product, that is why you are getting it. Now, take for instance, Zoom that we are using for this meeting currently. Zoom has been in existence since 2013. They launched in 2013, August 2013. And since 2013, they've been in the business. People have been using them, but in 2020, when the COVID-19 surge hit the world and everybody had to stay in, the need for remote work started, and people really needed to have platforms where they can have their meetings without being in the office space, right? Zoom became the most sought after platform that people use to solve that problem. So you can see now that customer base is very important for any product. So if Zoom wouldn't have maybe gone down if 2020 didn't happen or COVID-19 didn't happen, but the 2020 COVID-19 pushed or put the need and the want of that product in the heart of the people, that they actually had to start going after it. And then competitors started to come into the market, started to have Teams, started to have Google Meet, and so on and so forth. And even some newer meeting platforms started to show themselves. So the customers are what push a product. So the customer needs and wants is something I want us to hold throughout this presentation, because we keep going back to it. Now, this product could be a physical product, it could be a virtual product. So physical products could include your phones, your food products, your gadgets, and so on and so forth, while the virtual product could include the application, maybe your mobile app or your web app that you're currently using, a website that you like to go to or you usually visit, or softwares like Microsoft 365 and so on and so forth. And currently we are starting to see the newer products, or a newer type of product, which is the hybrid product. So the hybrid product is a combination of the virtual product and the physical product. So now we are seeing some things like the automatic vacuum cleaners that you can access through your phone. You can see how it's moving. You can see how far it has covered or cleaned the house. You can control it from even your offices, and the vacuum is in your house. So that is an example of an hybrid product. Now, what is product design? Before I go into product design, I would like us to talk about the difference between design and art, because there is usually a mix-up in this. So now design is different from art in that design has to have a purpose. Design is for it has to pass an information to people that are seeing that design. So, but art, on the other hand, doesn't necessarily have to pass an information. I can see an art that I don't understand and it's very beautiful, and I'll be like, oh, I like this, it's very beautiful, and I'll buy it for as much as maybe millions of naira, take it to my house, and people will come and admire it. Wow, this is beautiful. Do you understand this? No, I don't understand it. Idea what the artist was thinking about when designing, when coming or that creation. But the design, on the other hand, needs to be understood. If two people are seated and you're looking at something and I'm saying, oh, this is a design for today's webinar, and I'm unable to depict what the old design means, I can't even say, oh, today is the webinar. I can't say the webinar is on the 21st of November. I can't say this is what the topic is. I don't understand what is going on in that design. That design has failed. So it has forfeited the purpose of that design coming to existence. Now, aside from you seeing a problem that needs to be solved, like the person that created the compact fan must have noticed that people need something that they can carry around, because you take before the compact fans or rechargeable fans came on, we had hand fans. We had people who use paper, people who use anything to probably ease themselves of that heat that they are feeling. Now, the person probably thought of it to have seen that, okay, these people actually really need something to help them feel cool and control the heat for control this, maybe when they are on in the car, maybe they are in the bus, maybe they are in a party, or even in a very hot environment. So, or maybe they're in a hot environment. So the person might have now imagined. So now, after you've seen the problem, you see that, okay, a problem is already in existence. Now you start to imagine, think of solutions. You have to start to think of, okay, what do I need to do to solve this problem, right? You imagine it or you think of it, you start to create it. And then the iteration part is now when you have to keep going back to the drawing board to see if there are changes needed based on feedback, based on change in user needs, or based on what do I call it? The revolution of technology. And then you start to see that, okay, technology has advanced, so we have to add more to our product. So take, for example, iPhone started in 2007. Smartphones started becoming the norm, and they released their first product. Now imagine iPhone released this first product in 2007 and does not go back to the drawing board to think, okay, what do people need currently and how can we enhance our product to solve that problem? Would there still be an iPhone? I don't think so, because the need of people from 2007 till now has seriously changed. In 2007, people didn't need a phone that had a very big storage space. People just needed phone to make calls, probably do a little bit of browsing, because that was when internet started becoming very popular. So do a little bit of browsing, maybe Facebook was already available then, maybe go into Facebook and maybe talk to friends and family. The necessity for a very big storage space was not there. So the first iPhone was probably with a lesser RAM and a lesser storage space. Down to 2023, where we are now having phones of 1 terabyte with maybe 16 gig RAM. phones are now becoming like mobile laptop, right? Because people are starting to have the need to have bigger space in their mobile devices because they need to store a lot of things, maybe store things for work purpose, store things for maybe memory purpose, and so on and so forth. People are becoming content creators, and the camera of 2007 cannot do what the camera of 2023 is going to do, because people's needs have shifted from only wanting to make calls and maybe take pictures of whatever, of anything, to wanting to do content creation. So now content creation, you want to take a very good and clear picture or good and clear video for you to be able to post for people to watch. So the needs have shifted, and why that is why you need to keep iterating on your product, right? And then you keep iterating to solve this user problem. So the key to a successful product design is understanding the end user. You have to keep on going back and forth, trying to research into your end user, empathize with them, know them more, and then at that point be able to understand that, okay, these people actually need this, and this is how they will need it. So there's this manual blender I used when I went home recently. The manual blender looks like the usual industrial blender that we go to blend our pepper. And when I got home, my mom was complaining bitterly that they said that this blender can blend beans, but she's struggling to use it, like it's too hard and so on. And I was like, okay, bring it, let me see. And the energy and the strength I had to use to turn this thing was unnecessary. Like, we're in 2023. I shouldn't be going through this amount of stress all because I want to blend pepper when we have even easier manual blenders that we can use, and I have to use this. If you leave that product to me, the product might have died by now, because I will never use that product again, and I will not even tell my friends to buy the product. So understanding your end user is very necessary for you to be able to create a good product in the market. And Ralph Speck, the CEO of Jaguar, said that if you think good design is expensive, you should look at the cost of a bad design. Now, when you think, oh, why do I need to go through the stress of doing research, talking to my users before I can create a product? Is it not my money I'm spending? Is it not my product? You would know how expensive it is when you create a product in the market and nobody ends up using it. Like, you would lose the money you spent on it and probably even go into debt, because you might have maybe taken out some loans or taking out investments from people to be able to put that product into the market. So is it more expensive? Yes, it's more expensive than than a good design that you actually put so much into to create it. So I'm currently reading a book by Don Norman, The Design of Everyday Things, and he said that if he were placed in the cockpit of a modern jet airliner, his inability to perform well would neither bother nor surprise him. But why should he be having trouble with doors, light switches, and so on? So this gives you what a bad design would actually cause, the frustration a bad design will cause to your users. To be in a modern jet airliner, the cockpit of a modern jet airliner, you must have been trained as a pilot of some sort for you to be in that environment at that time. But I shouldn't be trained to open a door or use a light switch. Again, I'll keep giving examples so that you would understand why a bad design is very, very bad for your business. My dad went for Hajj in like some past few years, and he bought a sewing machine kind of thing, but it looked so compact and it looked like a stapler. It it was useful. Like that idea was very innovative. You won't need to use needle and thread, start looking for someone to put the needle, the thread into the needle for you. It was very, very innovative. That was very, very innovative. Now comes the usability part. Nobody could understand how to use that product. Nobody could understand the product in the house. So we had to eventually ignore the product because it was not usable, right? We had a lot of frustration using it. It looked like a stapler. So we thought it should work like a stapler, right? Manual to use it, and then we ended up dishing it aside, and that product might have even gone down now because I can't even see it anywhere. So that will show you what a bad design could do to your product. Now, so what is the difference between product design and UI UX design? So product design is an holistic concept that has the ownership of both UX and UI design, right? And then UI UX is UI is the user interface and UX is the user experience. So UI focuses on the visual experience, while UX focuses on the user experience. Now, the product design is why I say product design is an holistic concept. Is more of like product design encompasses both the UI, the UX, and a little bit of business ideas, branding, putting in all the work that would allow the product not only be usable to the users, but also bring in revenue to the company, right? So a product designer is mostly thinking of not just the product, but also thinking of the business as well. But it is said, or it is according to consensus, UX designers are only focused on the usability and the accessibility of a product rather than thinking of how it's going to work for the business. But they are mostly used interchangeably, and because of the similarities, they don't, in fact, they are interwoven. So a product designer might not even have the business aspect of it and only do the UI UX bit. And depending on your work description, you might not have to have the business parts or have business knowledge to be able to be a product designer. But it all depends on how you define it or how the company has put the description down for the job. Now, what is the difference between UI and UX? So I like to think about this as a skeleton and the flesh, or the outer appearance of a human being. But I will use an hotel to explain this better. Take, for example, you go to an hotel, you go in, the receptionist was very warm, she accepted you, or he accepted you in properly, they took you to your room, the room was convenient, the bed was properly laid, you had the basic amenities you needed, the room service was top-notch, there was light 24/7, all water was there, you had everything you needed in your at your beck and call. And when you were leaving, you even you tipped the receptionist and probably even gave the hotel a 5-star rating. Now, what that is that you had a very good experience in that hotel, right? But some things have been put into place for that particular thing for you to have that particular good experience you had in the hotel. The people, the management or the stakeholders might have thought, okay, people would need constant electricity in our hotel. People would need a very good reception when they come into the hotel. They would have set some rules and regulations, done some research to know what their customers or their clients would need based on their environment, based on the climate, based on the country or the region they are in. that, okay, if you are in Nigeria, there should be a way you are fumigating your surroundings so that you are not exposing your clients to mosquito bite. All these things, or exposing them to bed bugs, all these things, you have put it in place before a user comes in. That is what the UX is. So all the things you put in place, all the structures you put in place to be able to give your user a very good experience is what the user experience is. Now for the UI, you have the interface, right? And the interface would be how the company or the hotel looks from the out, how it looks when you maybe from the interior design, from the exterior design, everything was fine, it was looking beautiful, or how, if it's looking bad or something. That is the UI. So now the UI is what you see and interact with. The UX is the things that have gone into place for you to be able to have a good experience with that particular product. So the end product is where both of them meet, and then the combination of UI and UX is what brings on the end product. Now, a good UX design. So from my talking since morning, you would have seen that considering your users in your product is very, very necessary for you to be able to have a good product design or a good UX design. Now, Snapchat has done that by thinking about their users throughout their product design or their product development phase to say that, okay, this application is for people to take pictures, share pictures with friends and family, chat with their friends and family, and so on, share whatever memories they are having currently, share their daily activities and so on. So now Snapchat has come to think that, okay, people are vicious, people could be wicked and think of what and think of something that would maybe they would do to someone to hurt them and make them like look bad in public. And then this Snapchat has now thought of, okay, how do we make this thing work out fine? And then they came to think of, okay, we have to protect our users by giving them notification whenever somebody takes a screenshot of a product, or somebody saved a product, or somebody even viewed, or I say screenshots, take a screenshot of a picture or whatever chat you are having with them, or view your picture or chat, or even saved it, or even if they whatever interaction they have with that particular thing you guys are sharing, you know it, so that if anything controversial happens in future, you know who to hold responsible, and then you don't end up being in a bad place at any point in time. Even the same thing goes for WhatsApp. WhatsApp also has a way of showing you that somebody deleted a message. You think it's unnecessary now until you are involved in a case and you have to show the chat as an evidence, and then the person is saying that, oh, I didn't send you a chat, and truly you can't even see the chat in the your chat because it deleted it, right? But if that person had deleted the message, and you can also see the message that this person deleted this message in your chat, it now creates more case for that person, because why would you delete a chat if you said you didn't say that particular thing that you said? If you say you didn't say that particular thing that you said. So now you see the reason why you have to have those particular features that are there. They are there to protect you, right? So that is why this qualifies as a good UX design. Now, for the bad UX design, you start to see that I am sharing this particular screenshot that I took of a music playing app that I used recently. And then I came to see that after I played the music, nothing changed. So currently in this screen, I'm playing a music. I'm currently playing the music, and nothing changed. And this was not the only issue I had. Okay, if nothing changed, at least I should be able to pause the music or forward the music or go to the next music or go back to the music I was listening to. I needed to do other activities with the music, and I'm still seeing play. Nothing is showing. So I can't pause or stop the music. I can't go next. I can't shuffle. I can't repeat. Nothing. So I have to just, I'm now stuck with their own rules and regulations. So they didn't give me any flexibility with their product. And this could be very, very frustrating because I could come to a point where I want to stop listening to the music. I can't listen to the music forever. So I have to cancel the whole website so that I could end the music, which was very, very bad, which was a very, very bad experience. And that's why it qualified as a bad UX. Now, these are some of the careers you would see or you can explore if you want to be in the product design field. You can be a UX engineer. Probably you already have some basic knowledge of development, or you are already a full stack developer, and then you want to understand what the users are feeling or how the user are experiencing the product. So you have a basic knowledge of UX, adding it to your full stack development, and then you'll be able to know that, okay, this the fight UX product designers and product developers always have is functionality and technicality. So the product designers might start to say, no, this is not technical enough, this is not functional. And then the product designer is coming to say, no, it has to be usable, it has to be. So if a product developer or an engineer already has like a basic knowledge of how the user are going to experience something, it will help them like be able to translate whatever I have designed into a functioning experience. And then the program manager also could have like a basic UX knowledge to be able to know why all this empathy and research are going into place for them to be able for us to be able to have a good product, because program managers are always more of timely people. They are the ones coming to say, okay, this has to be done by this time, and you're saying, oh no, this has to take more time. So if they have basic knowledge of UX, they'll be able to like come and do come and understand, be able to understand what the UX designers are doing. So same thing with the UX writers. So the UX writers write to solve user problems, right? And then if you are creating a website or an application and the app is too text or is too wordy, it begins to overwhelm your users, right? So you can also be a UX writer. Probably you already have writing experience, or you're a writer and then you want to come into the product design field, can go into the UX writing. Then if you are a researcher already, or you are very good at researching, UX research is your place to be. If you are very good with visuals, maybe a graphic designer, or you like visual, then you can be a visual designer. And then interaction designer is focused on what or the flow of a user from the beginning of a product to the end of a product. So it's saying that, okay, I'm going from here to here. How do I leave this place to get to that place? So the interaction designer is thinking of a user a very good experience. Now we are down to design thinking. And design thinking was coined by David Kelly and Tim Brown of IDEO. Design thinking is a human-centric or a user-centric or human-centered approach to innovation. So it draws from the designer's toolkit to integrate of technology, that's two, and the requirements for the business success, that's three. Now, we have a case study. So we're using this case study to explain all design thinking stages. So a case study is that you go to a village and you go to the village that they need water, or they go hours to get what the stream. Come say, oh, this is water. And then you dig boreholes, you taps for them to get water at their beck and call, right? And you went and came back and still saw that they are still stream to fetch, because you didn't empathize, you didn't talk to these people, you didn't try to understand them a solution to their problem, then your solution is not useful, because they don't need it. They have a reason why they go to the stream. Now, if you had spoken to these people or researched into why they are walking to the stream every day to fetch water, you would realize that it's because they are maybe worshiping the gods of the water, or because they believe in the water and know that if they should use that water to bath or use that water, they drink it, they are going to be successful. And you came, you did borehole water, because they have to keep on using the tap, the stream water. Looking for, I want to solve problem, or I want to start a business. This is a good business idea, or this is a good business industry I can go into. Know your users, know your customers, understand your customers, know what they need, and can solve that problem in such a way that even your competitors that are there, you are beating them at it. And at the end of the day, nobody's in the business to just be. You want to make more money. Make more money, you have to understand the people that are going to be using the products. Remember in the beginning of the presentation, I said customers' needs and wants are what we are going to be using throughout this presentation. The customers are key in any product you are creating. So that is what design thinking is coming to say, that think from your customers' point of view, not from your business point of view, right? So it takes from the toolkit of the designer. Now I have the basic knowledge of what I can do to solve your problem. So now it integrates into the needs of the people. What do they need, right? What are the possibilities of technology currently? And then how do I make money from this, right? That's the business success. So you have to make money from it. Now we have 5 stages in this product design process. We have the empathize, the define, the ideate, the prototype, and test. And I want you to know now that this is a non-linear process. It doesn't have to go from empathize to define to ideate. You can end up doing empathy, design, and define and ideate at the same time. So as you're empathizing with those people that you went to see in the village, you are seeing that, okay, these are their problems, and you're seeing, okay, possible solutions you could give to that problem. Now, if you empathize with them and you define an idea, you start to see that, oh, probably these people need more a faster way to get to the river rather than trekking there, right? So this is a non-linear process, and it can occur till eternity, till the end of that product, and that is why it is in an infinity shape. So it never ends until the product dies. Now, the empathize, the fourth phase, which is empathy. So I would like us to talk about the difference between sympathy and empathy. Now, sympathy is when you see somebody going through a problem, or see somebody going through something, and you are just saying, oh, sorry, I know you are going through this, but sorry, it will be fine. That is sympathy. But empathy is when you are saying, I understand, I actually do get you. This is what you are going through, and I understand you. Because you are at that point, you are trying to put yourself in the shoes of that person that is going through that problem. You'll see that recently on Instagram, you start to see users or maybe content creators creating content of maybe pregnant women going to buy a big watermelon, tying it, wrapping it around their husband and telling him, oh, yeah, move around the house, do basic house chores, or do basic things with the pregnancy. Tell them to pick something from the floor, tell them to sit down, tell them to they are trying to make their husband empathize with them, to understand, okay, this is how heavy I am feeling, and this is how uncomfortable it is for me to do some things at that time. And then the other will be able to know that, okay, if I'm telling her to do something at this point and she's unable to do it, it's because of she's feeling too heavy to do it. And you'll be able to understand that person more than what you are saying, right? So that is what empathizing with your user is. Now, if you had gone to the village to research, understand your user, know them more, you'll be able to know that, oh, these people are worshiping that stream, and all they need is maybe a transportation system that can take them from their village to the stream and back in a short period of time, right? That is what empathy is. So it helps you understand your user to be able to create a product that solves their problem rather than pushing what you feel they need into their faces. Right? So defining the problem is after you've done the research, you've spoken to the people in the village, they've told you that, oh, I go to the river because if I don't drink that water in a day, I would not be successful. My business will not prosper. I have to bath with it because so that if I go to the market, people will come and buy from me. So I have to use it. And then you're asking, okay, what are the problems you are now facing going to that stream? And you say, because if I go to the stream, I'm an old woman, you can see, and I don't have children. I have to go with my back pain and my leg pain to the stream every day to fetch water and come back. It's stressful, though. That way, you are seeing the pain point of that users. You are seeing that, okay, these people actually are not comfortable going to this stream. It's just that they have to go because that is the only way they think they can succeed, right? And then you start to think, okay, you start to create user personas, problem statements, user stories. The user persona is like a fictional representation of a user that you created based on all the users you have spoken to. So you might infuse their problems into one person that you created to be able to show to your stakeholders, right? To show them that, okay, this is a fictional person based on the interview we have done. This is a fictional person, and this is the problem they are going through. So instead of you seeing the village people as a lot of people, you are seeing them as one person or two people that are showing the pain points they are facing. So now you are constantly seeing these people in your office because you've created it and maybe pasted it on the notice board. So everybody is going and coming, and you're seeing that these people are going through this problem. This is what we are solving, right? And that way you would be able to come up with a solution that will solve that problem rather than pushing your solution into the people's faces and to end up not making you money because they won't use it. So ideation is when you start to come up with ideas for your product, right? And like we say in Utica, there is no bad idea. So at this point, there are no bad ideas, right? All ideas you bring to the table are good. Now, you would now go through, because at this stage, you go through a design sprint or a sprint, right? So now when you get to this ideation phase, you do a sprint, you come up with ideas, maybe do the crazy 8, coming up with maybe all the people in the group are seated, all people in the team, the product design team are seated, and then there will be a facilitator, and you say, okay, everybody, we are giving us maybe 10 minutes to come up with crazy 8 ideas that would solve these people's problem. Now everybody will scribble, try to look for somebody that would be an errand boy that would be fetching water for them with his bicycle. Try to do a bicycle for everybody to be taken to the stream. Create a transport system. All these things, you are coming up with crazy ideas at the spot. So if you are 8 in your team, you probably have up to maybe how many ideas at that time? That is 8 times 8. That is maybe 16 or 64, right? At the spot. So 64 ideas to solve one problem. You see that you start to see that, okay, these are the possible solutions. Now, you don't take all the 64 ideas to the next phase. You have to start to filter it out. Why? Okay, you filter it out based on maybe the possibilities of technology, the feasibility of that particular solution at the time, based on maybe um based on maybe the amount of money you have, right? And that is how you go on with it. So the prototyping phase is now the combination of the design phase and the prototype. So now, during this phase, you come up with low-fi and high fidelity prototypes for your product. So the low-fi is the lowest version of that product, like maybe a sketch or a black and white version of that product. The high fidelity is more of the fully fleshed product, but it has not gone through engineering or development. So you have not spent money to develop it or engineer it, but you have come up with the full-fledged, it looks so much like the final product, but it's not the final product. Now, this product is what you take down to the test phase. So now this test phase is when you now say, okay, people should test this product for you and see if it works for them. If it works, they'll give you feedback. And at the end of the day, you go back, make corrections on it, and take it to the development. So by the time you are coming into the market, you're not coming into the market as somebody that doesn't know what is doing. You are coming to the market based on the what's it called, the pain points or the research you've done. You've put a lot of things into it that people are already waiting for your product. So by the time your product goes into the market, people are buying it, right? So now, what are the key takeaways from this presentation? Number one is that you don't necessarily have to use the old user design thinking process in all your projects or at every stage of your project. So if it's a product is at its early stage, you can prioritize the research, understanding the market, understanding your users at that point. But if the product has already been shipped or is already launched, then your focus is more on how to optimize and maybe make it better, right? So, and then another another point is that it's a never-ending process. It never ends. Like I said, it's in an infinity shape. So it never ends. There is never an ending until that particular product comes to an end, like its life cycle ends. That is when the design thinking process ends. And then the last one is that it is not a linear process, and I can't emphasize this enough. It is not a linear process. You can be empathizing, defining, and ideating at the same time, and you can prototype and test at the same time, right? So in conclusion, the most important thing to remember when designing product is that design is for the people, right? And we've spoken about this throughout this presentation, that design is for the people, and I can't emphasize this enough. And then to design great products, you must deliver the right feature with the right user experience for the right people. So you have to know, okay, these are the features for those people in the village. Okay, they need a bus to go to the stream, or you can even have maybe errand boys in the bus that will maybe fetch water for the older people. So right features and the right user experience for the right people, right? So thus define your target audience, then research their problems, and finally focus on building a product that solves those problems. Thank you.
Thank you, Mariam Alakoso, for this wonderful presentation. I would like anybody that has any questions to please drop their questions in the chat box so that I can ask. Mariam, while you were speaking, you talked about ideation. You said anybody can have an idea and bring it to life. But you also talked about bad UX design. So if there is no bad idea, how do designers end up with bad UX designs?
So thank you, Rosemary, for that question. So like I said, there's no bad idea, but the ideation phase is different from the final product. And the final product is what users are coming to use, that they're having a bad experience. Like I said, UX is user experience. So if you create a product into the market and the product is giving the users a bad experience, that is when it comes to say, okay, it is a bad UX design. But ideation is when you are coming up with the solution. It is not the final product. You are just coming up with that solution. So if you are coming up with the solution for the first time, all the ideas you are bringing to the table is valid until you start to filter it out to say, oh, this idea cannot work out now because of this, and this, and that is why you are leaving it. You're not saying, oh, it's bad, and then you didn't do any research and you're pushing it away. No. So at that point, no bad idea until you have done your research and look into it to say, okay, this is not possible at this time, but we might come back to it later on. So I hope that answers your question.
Yes, it answers my question. Thank you very much, Mariam. I have another question. You said anyone can be an innovator. Anyone can think about something or be creative. So does it mean that anybody that is innovative or creative is a product designer?
You don't have to be a product designer to be creative and innovative. In fact, sometimes people bring their idea. Okay, I have seen a problem and I've come up with a solution, and this is it, right? Sometimes even before you start the product design phase, you already know the solution that you want to create, but you have maybe come up with a solution. You want to know how well to build that solution. You might after doing your empathy or your research, you might now come to see that, okay, this is even a better way to do this than doing it this way. Do you understand? So if you know your solution, or you've come up with your this thing, you can even go to a product designer and say, okay, I have seen a problem and this is the solution I came up with. This is what I think we can do. And then you give it to them, they'll go through all these processes to be able to bring your idea to life. So you don't necessarily have to be an innovator, a product designer to be an innovator.
Okay, thank you so much, Mariam. Rodia Adegoke is asking, she said, what's your take on, sorry, hold on. She said, what's your take on excessive ads on the platform, especially when you're on a download site? I can understand that there is almost nothing you tap or click on that doesn't have you being redirected to another site. Is that also called a bad UX design?
Yes, thank you, Rodia, for that question. So it can be a bad user experience because you are frustrated by it, but that is the way they are making their own money. So if you are using a mobile application, for example, and you are seeing pop-up ads, they'll tell you, for you to have a ad-free experience, you have to subscribe. But if you are using websites and it's popping up, probably the website didn't go through the whole product design phase, and then they had to come up with a way for them to make their money out of the site that they built, and that is by redirecting you to sites. And see, that is a bad UX, that is a bad user experience. I also face it as well, and it's very, very frustrating. And so yes, it is actually.
Okay, so I think what you're meaning here now is that there should not be too much pop-up ads when you're on a site, so that it doesn't frustrate the users,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Okay. Abdul Karim Alakoso says, in our place of work, we produce pepper. How do you think we can make that acceptable to people using UI and UX? Is that like, I think it has to do with the advert.
Okay, so for it to be accessible to people, you have to maybe do your research on what what people are in need of. So now there is a way you can maybe think of, okay, people produce pepper in the villages. How do you package it to send it to people in the urban areas or the urban areas? Yeah. So let's take, for example, we have things like what Jumia buy. You have online platforms where people order foodstuff and then they can buy it from them. So you can also create a platform where people where you connect the rural sellers to the urban dwellers, right? So the rural sellers are more of people that are the ones, maybe the farmers, they are the ones creating this product, they're the ones farming it out. And then the urban dwellers are in need of this product, but it's hard, like people in Kano, Kaduna, it's hard to get products down here. So if you create a company that you will say, okay, I would be the one to go there. I'll have refrigerator in my van. You go there, pack all the goods and services, bring them down to Lagos. That is a business for you based on UI UX. So now you are going to interview the farmers, maybe research on the farmers, research on the users, and think of, okay, how do I bridge this gap for the users, right? So it's possible.
Okay, so I feel like everything is advertisable as long as you can be able to empathize with your users.
Yes, so you have to understand your users and know what their pain points are for you to be able to solve it for them.
Thank you so much, Mara. There's another question. It says, where does programming come in with UI UX? I'm relatively naive in this field, but I know people learn programming languages like Python, Java, etc. when they are learning UI UX. So where does
the whole design and prototype it right there on Figma without spending one. So you don't necessarily need to have a lot of money for your product. You are just giving people the look-alike of your I should even maybe do a what's it called, a physical product. People use what card to come up with a 3D version of it and maybe put it out as virtual experience, the virtual reality, where it's out like the final product, and then people can maybe interact with it and see how well it works before you come to spend money on development. Another way you can do it is maybe buy or create the smallest version, maybe just one or two, and it's out there and works. But for the real world, you can just create a prototype and people use and see how it works out development. So do you need money? You might, maybe a little bit, or you might not at all. But if you don't have any money, you can prototype without spending a lot of money. So at the time you are developing or you have developed, you can now put it out for investors to come in, put money into it, and then you get your final product out there. I hope that answers your question.
Sorry for the break in transmission. That was a glitch. Finally, Abdul Karim Alakoso says, this is a contribution. The example you used about a village where people go to the stream to fetch water, we had the same experience and later found out that the people just needed estate development before water. So that means this is a very good example that you used here. Thank you so much, Abdul Karim, for this contribution that you just made. Thank you, everyone, for joining in today. I'm going to be passing the microphone back to Aderunke Osho to close.
Thank you so much, Miriam. Thank you for doing justice to that topic. And I'm sure all our listeners here have been, have been
Okay, we can't hear you.
I think I believe that everyone here has been impacted one way or the other from the topic Miriam has shared. Thank you so much, Miriam. Thank you to our participants. Thank you for listening in, for sharing your time with us. I would like, at this point, I probably want to do a brief introduction of the newest kid on the block for us, that is Utica Custodian Assured Fixed Income Fund. It's a new product from Utica, and it's a blend of investment and insurance. I'm sure before you all leave here, you'd see that slide back on the screen. All you need to do is just scan that QR code, and from there you are good to go. Thank you once again for joining in, and enjoy the rest of the day. Bye-bye.